Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is of course your broadcaster HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. And down in the bottom left hand corner today, I will be bringing you guys a match with none other than formerly Millennium's player, but now is on Team Root. It is Root.Tod, and he is going to be the red Protoss player down in the bottom left hand corner. Very famous, actually been known throughout the esports community for a very long time, and I'm interested to see how he performs here against the blue Protoss player in the top right hand corner. He is from Germany and his name is Zeth. And so Todd versus Zeth, an established long-time pro gamer here. He's wise beyond his years compared to Zeth, who's only actually 16 years old. So this should be interesting. It's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss in Heart of the Swarm, and the map is going to be the classic Daybreak. So this map, I don't even really need to give you guys much of a tour on it. You guys already know there's a natural, there's rocks leading over into the middle of the map, and the third typical expansion, which is located at the outer perimeter here. And of course, many more expansions that can be grabbed in the middle of the map, but one of the features of this map is it's very big. It's a vast map, and even in high-level PvP, in Wings of Liberty right now, you're actually seeing a lot of Protoss players just opt to go ahead and play more of a passive expanding style. Yes, there's still very much aggression though. Right now I feel like StarCraft 2 is evolving more towards aggression and lots of one base attacks, lots of all-ins now, not so much more of the macro style that you used to see, but I think generally in Protoss versus Protoss, you are seeing a little bit more Nexus expanding from players, and that's definitely more the case here in Heart of the Storm because of the Mothership Core and the ability that it gives you to use the Photon Overcharge ability, which basically makes it very hard for another Protoss player to say, I'm going to go ahead and attack right now and hope that I can break through, because it just doesn't really happen. That Photon Overcharge ability, the range is insane. Alright, if I put the edge of my screen like right here, I swear it can reach to like right here, maybe even here. It's just like not even comprehensible how far the range is. I think it's something like 10, maybe 12, and it does, I think, 20 to 25 damage a shot, so it's no joke. And look to definitely see both of these players grab a Mothership Core as soon as possible. The one thing that players do have to juggle with here in Protoss versus Protoss is when you go for a Mothership Core, you are forced to actually get that second gas, or you're forced to wait on the Mothership Core for a pretty long time, because it requires 100 gas, and before you can start to make the Mothership Core, it's essential that you get a Stalker out and you get the Warp Gate research going on your Cybernetics Core. So, you know, you're not actually able to make enough gas off of just one, and I think that's why Todd here is adding on a second gas, and you can see how he split the workers. He's only put 2 on each extractor rather than putting a total of 6. Now, Zeth is going to have a later core as a result because he didn't grab the second gas, and you know, right now both players are just focused on getting their units on the field. But look at this, Todd is going to go for a very quick expand. This is a 1-gate expand, no Mothership Core yet, now being added on. Pretty bold play from Todd, but this is Heart of the Storm, and remember, you can defend very easily once you get the Mothership Core out on the field. It's actually very, very easy to hold off most attacks now, because the core gives you not only the ability to attack, but also detection. So if another player goes DTs, it's just not going to be very effective. You can see here Zeth actually says, alright, I'm going to go expand too, and this is a blind expansion. He has not scouted his opponent at all yet. Neither player has scouted their opponent at all. And so really, for the first time, you know, even in Wings of Liberty, it's almost unheard of to see a Protoss player go 1-gate expand, 1-gate core expand. Usually at the very upper limit, they'll do something like a 2-gate with Robo and then expand, but 1-gate core expanding is actually just wild. The fact that they have done this here just kind of signifies that in Protoss versus Protoss now, in Heart of the Swarm, you will see more of an expanding style, less aggression, more passivity, and that actually kind of cool, because how often do you see a very late game PvP? It's almost never. It just doesn't really happen very often. And so in late game PvP, you will see crazy things actually. You'll see motherships coming out, not Mothership Core, the real Mothership, the full bloom. And you know, the Mothership is a really, really good unit. And then you'll even see High Templars being used to feed back the Mothership. So I'm just kind of speculating right now, but from what I've seen in very, very high level PvPs, maybe we'll see something like that here in this matchup. You never know. You know, it is Daybreak. It's a big map. Todd here is going to be throwing down the pylon over to the top side. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to grab the third that quickly. You know, Protoss players just love to throw the pylons up wherever they can possibly get them down, and it makes a lot of sense. It gives you scouting vision, it allows you to warp in units should you need to, And so I think he's just being diligent right now. There is a real Phoenix on the field, so Todd did go for Stargate here, and he is going to be making Phoenixes, not Oracles, but Phoenixes very quickly. Now, you've kind of been seeing a lot of Protoss players actually say, yeah, the Oracle was kind of nice. It was cute for a while, but now I'm not really into it anymore. You know, it was kind of a thing for a little bit, but now the phase is over. And I still feel like Oracles have a place in the game, but players haven't really figured it out yet. It's a very expensive unit to be able to kill off a building, and if you don't actually kill something off, it's almost like, oh, well, there it goes, my game's over, because after that, the Oracle's kind of hard to use. But the chrono field, the time field, is still very, very good. It's a time warp field, and we'll see if either player decides to go for that. Now, those Phoenixes have gone in for Todd. He was able to pick off 1 or 2 probes there. Do note that he's adding on another Stargate, and he's going for Tempest right now. Now, that is interesting. Remember, I did mention that in PvPs now, you don't see all that much Colossus anymore at the high level. You are starting to see some more Tempest being used, because Tempest can count. Oh man, that guy suffered a terrible death. No way out of that one. But you know what? The Tempest is a unit that you are seeing a lot more of now, because it hard counters the Colossus so well. Now players just don't even really go Colossus all that much anymore in PvP. It would almost be suicidal against the Tempest, because the Tempest does extra damage versus massive. Look at this Phoenix fleet right here going in, picking off another probe. It's going to be able to fly out of there, no problem. And Zeth is adding on an Immortal right now, but what is his tech choice? He's going to go purely Gateway, it looks like, with Blink, and that's not a bad idea. Blink Stalkers are actually pretty good against Tempests. So we're going to be seeing a very interesting divergence here in this mirror matchup. One player opting to go for Sky Toss, the other player opting to go for Ground Toss. So it's going to be air versus ground here, and who's got the supremacy? Well, we're about to find out. Those Phoenixes are going to be flying around to the back of the main base here. You're going to be able to pick off another round of probes, and they have gotten their kill count up to 4 right now. Not even 1 Phoenix has died yet, but you know what? Todd is just using the Phoenix as a distraction in order to be able to construct the much more expensive unit back at home, the capital airship that is the Tempest. So interesting, you know, he's not being super aggressive. He's just using this as a way to buy time, as a way to distract Zeth. But Zeth is, you know, he's gonna have a decent army to deal with anything that comes out of the Stargate. He's got Blink on the way, very smart, because he's probably put 2 and 2 together here and said, all right, you're going for Phoenix. Well, that probably means that you're going to follow up the Stargate play with even more Stargate units, and if you do, I've got Blink Stalkers ready to go. But you will note right here at the supplies at the top, Todd is looking very good right now at 100 supply over Zeth's 77. So, and he's also just throwing up pylons everywhere around the map, which is so smart. He's getting good vision at every location possible. You know, with a pylon, or a zealot actually, that's not a pylon. He is going to be able to see whenever a nexus should come down there, and a pylon over here will allow him to warp in should a nexus come out here as well. And Zeth so far, no ideas yet as to expanding, but he is adding on Templar. He looks like he wants to go Charge Out Archon, which not a bad idea. Charge Out Archon also good. It's a good combination with Stalkers. But I'm interested to see how it's going to play against this Sky Toss build. It almost feels like the Archon, you know, it's a great unit to have against air units, but it's even better if you've got a mothership. If you've got a mothership that can vortex everything in and then send your Archons inside. Have you ever seen a mothership toilet bowl maneuver with Archons in PvP? Because I know I haven't. So this is going to be very interesting. What is going to happen? I have no idea. But I will tell you guys one thing for sure. Todd is looking very good right now. He's got 126 supply. Might just go to show that, you know, those veteran instincts really kicking in here, even though Zeth is kind of the new school kid on the block, 16 years old. He is, whoa, that observer just got completely bombarded, because look at this, it's a mine-sweeping army with the Mothership Corps going out on revelation duty, or is it called Envision? It's called Envision, excuse me. So it's envisioning any observer on the map right now. This Tempest fleet is being used to pick off any unit that's invisible on the map. Very smart right there, actually, from Todd. He was able to get only 1 observer, but hey, that was for energy, which is free. And the one thing, though, is Zeth does have that early warning beacon. That observer went down, yes, but that allowed him to realize, hey, what's going on here? Well, there's a lot of Tempest coming on the horizon, so hopefully he can get his act together, be able to defend that. But meanwhile, Todd is also preparing with an army down south. Now, that probe also scouted that out as it was moving out across the map, so Zeth is going to try to take out this army first. at least to defend the third Nexus. But what about back at home? Because the Tempests are starting to fire down into the main base. So probes are running away. It looks like the Mothership Core using Photon Overcharge here on the Nexus, which is kind of helping a little bit. And it is going to be able to push the Tempest away. Interestingly enough, it seems like the Tempest don't have more range than the Mothership Core with Photon Overcharge on the Nexus. So that's very, very interesting. You tend to think of the Tempest as the longest range unit in the game. Meanwhile, in the bottom of the map here, a little bit of skirmishing going on. Doesn't look like either side lost too much. Maybe actually Zeth did come out a little bit ahead, because I'm not too sure what happened to most of the Zealots here from Todd. I can see some of them pulling back here, more Zealots back at home, but if you look at the supply tabs right now, Zeth, the German Protoss, has been able to climb back up and match Todd tick for tack here, 144 to 141 supplies. So things are actually not looking too bad here for the Germans. And we'll see if Zeth will be able to actually take out Todd. That would be insane. We do have some interesting upgrades on the way, though. Fleet Beacon is coming out right now along with another Stargate, so that can only mean one of two things, either carriers or a mothership. And I will tend to say here probably going to be carriers, because why else would you throw down that extra Stargate? So it seems like Todd right now has plans to go ahead and take this into the super late Sky Toss game. And he's also got a fourth Nexus coming down as well at this current time. Zeth also looking to get a fourth Nexus down in the middle of the map, so he's staying right on the heels of Todd. Todd is sending in some DTs though, and these DTs, of course, there's no photon cannons here, but the Mothership Core can use Revelation. I'm just not too sure where it is right now. And right now the DT is going to be able to do a little bit of damage. It looks like it's killed off 4 probes already. 5 probes to make that. And where is the detection here for Zeth? He's actually sent his probes back in here, and the probes now taking a lot of damage. Todd is getting very cost-effective with this Dark Templar. 12 kills, 13 kills, 14 kills, and still no sign of detection here from the Blue Protoss. That DT, now it looks like the army is coming in to try to box the Dark Templar out. And the DT was like, oh, screw that, I'm getting scared now, because at any moment an observer or that can come in. And it looks like the DT is, you know, it's a quick unit, man. They are very fast, and seemingly faster than a Mothership Core is. So they are going to be able to get out of there and not going to die. So that DT lives to tell the tale of his adventures, and he's got 16 kills under his belt. So very nice job right there from that Dark Templar. Now, let's just go ahead and take a look at the upgrades. We can see that it's kind of a smorgasbord, really, of upgrades. It's hard to really compare because Zeth, the German Protoss, has a lot of ground upgrades. The Todd has air upgrades, so it's like 1-1 versus 1-2 right now. It's very hard to compare. Do note, though, that another DT has made its way back in, but it did go down pretty quickly because now there's an observer. In fact, 2 observers overhead of this army. But more importantly, just look at the composition from both these players. From one side, we've got Todd going with Charge Lot Tempest Carrier Mothership Core. And on the other side, we've got standard ground Protoss. So it's going to be very curious here how this plays out, because I've never really seen a late game Protoss like this before. And, you know, I'm trying to play out the scenarios in my head. I feel like the Tempest, while they're good, Blink Stalkers, I feel like, can crush them. They can just blink under the Tempest and then take them all out. And if that happens, then Todd could be in a lot of trouble. But that's why he's got so many Zealots under his army. Well, they should be under his army, at least. I'm not too sure where they're going right now. It looks like he's busy making hallucinated Colossi. I don't know where they're going. Whoa! Blinking out his entire army there, or warping out his entire army there. I'm not too sure why. Looks like he was getting a little worried about the Blink Stalkers that were chasing him on the ground. And now he's going to try to use these hallucinated Colossus to do something. I don't even know what he's trying to do. I think his original plan was to send in the Colossus first, distract the enemy army, and then bring his whole air army into the main base, but it didn't work out too well. But he does have his ground Zealots going in here. They're going to be able to do a ton of damage at that expansion, but meanwhile, a huge battle going on in the middle of the map. And here's the problem with all the Zealots being used offensively for Todd. He doesn't have anything on the ground to defend against the Blink Stalkers. He's going to have to use these photon cannons. He's got another carrier coming in. So this is an epic battle right now, and it looks like he's going to be making a hold here against Zeth. Zeth has to pull back. Meanwhile, back at home, the Zealots are just running through his probe line, but he was able to overcharge his Nexus, so that keeps it alive. And in the meantime, it looks like in the middle of the map, Todd wins quite decisively, forcing the entire Protoss army of Zeth to run away. And right now, Zeth is definitely, you know, tucking his tail in between his legs. If you look at the workers kill tab as well, Root.Tod has killed off way more workers than Zeth has, 31-1, and it's all mainly because of these Dark Templars. They've just been running amok inside these expansions, but not anymore. Not with the Photon Overcharge ability. That is going to keep that Dark Templar away. But it does look like Todd is going to go ahead and make an attack here into the middle of the map. Lots of forces here, mainly air units. Look at how quickly the carriers bombard that Nexus, and now they've got to get out of there because there's a bunch of Blink Stalkers back here. And it looks like the Blink Stalkers are focusing down the carriers, so Todd, while he takes out a Nexus, he is going to lose quite a bit of forces, and this is the problem. I feel like if you go Sky Toss against a bunch of Blink Stalkers, yeah, you've got great air supremacy, but what if you lose your entire ground army? Then you could lose a massive battle just like that. Even when you're trying to retreat, all those Blink Stalkers will just punish you so heavily. And Zeth definitely capitalized on that situation. He realized the weakness. He saw that the carriers in the Tempest didn't have any ground support. And if there's no ground support, the Stalkers reign supreme. And right now, Zeth is just continuing to push harder and harder here. He's coming in, gonna try to break the spine of Todd, but there's a lot of photon cannons here reinforcing. Will Zeth have enough to break through? Or will Todd be able to defend? It looks like he's backing his carriers up, trying to stutter step micro the carriers. There's something you don't see every day. And the hallucinated Colossus coming in as well, just using that as a distraction. Not a bad idea, absorbing some shots from the Archons. Even the Mothership Core has been overcharged now, and I don't even know where the Mothership, excuse me, the Nexus is overcharged. I don't even know where the Mothership Core is at. That carrier gets out, but no, it doesn't. With the very last shot coming from the Stalker, able to take it down, and Todd now warping these DTs into Archons. This game is really crazy. This is super close. 98 supply to 107 right now. Todd has not given up on the air game. He's still making carriers here, as you can see on the production tab for a second there. He was actually making 3 carriers at a time, and Zeth is sticking true to ground toss, man. He's researching +2 armor right now, currently rounding up his upgrades to 2-3. The Protoss air upgrades are at it's actually kind of hard to see right now, but it looks like if I pull up the upgrade tab, the Protoss air upgrades are at 1-2. So it's a little bit less for Todd, but you can't really blame him because air units cost so much more gas in general than ground units do. And look at this DT. I'm not sure how many kills that guy got, but it looks like he was able to rocket up the total to 37 probes killed now. And that's definitely one reason why Todd has been able to stay in this game, despite him having, you know, a great air army. He's lost most of the major battles here. The ground Blink Stalkers are proving to be too effective, and that's one reason I think why Todd is still in the game, because his DTs have been able to kind of balance and offset that. So we'll see what happens here. Will the conventional win, the conventional ground style from Zeth? One thing you will note though is Zeth is not making a single Colossus, and the reason for that, like I said before, is because Tempests are so good against the Colossus, it just makes them completely useless. And so even when you see a hallucinated Colossus on the ground, it's like, well, that's not really a real Colossus. Come on now, you're not pulling anyone's chain with that. So very, very interesting game right now. We do have a War Prism coming in from Zeth. It looks like he wants to try to be a little aggressive of his on his own terms. And he's going to bring in a couple of Zealots here, but does he have a Dark Shrine? No, he doesn't. He's trying to make a Dark Shrine right now, so he's just going to rely solely on ground charge Zealots. But there's a DT here, and with the DT playing defensively, Zeth will probably have to get out of there before that Tempest takes him down. That War Prism has got to get out. Luckily, the War Prism not considered a massive unit, so it doesn't take serious damage from the Tempest, and it was able to get out of the way. And a lot more Archons being made right now, as at the same time Zeth is looking to claim another expansion. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other tabs here. We've got APM, both players about the same. EPM, both players about the same. And I think we can check some of these other cool upgrades as well. And let's see here. I never really looked at the active forces upgrade, but it seems pretty much identical to what you would see normally from the supply tabs at the top. Anyways, we do have that War Prism coming in one more time here from Zeth, and this time there is a Tempest there once again. So Zeth will probably want to get out of there. I don't know why he's sticking around. He's going to lose this War Prism. Meanwhile, he is bringing his entire army up to the north, trying to check for an expansion, but there's only a probe there, so at least he denies the possibility of an expand for now. But he loses his War Prism as well. Never really made use of that. I think he was hoping, I guess he was hoping for the War Prism to be a distraction, but you can see that Todd never really even moved his army. He was like, I know you got your army up north, and I know you've got a War Prism in my base, but I'm just going to chill here and hang out. So that's what he did. You'll note also that Todd isn't actually mining all that much gas. He's only got 1 probe on each extractor. He should actually get 3 on each one right now. That's a mistake. You know, look at the minerals to gas right now. Both players are, you know, hungering for some gas for sure. And so I don't know why Todd isn't getting 2 more probes on that extractor. You know, it makes more sense actually for both players because they're going for very gas-intensive builds. So I'm not too sure why, but here comes an attack from Zeth. Oh my god, he's got so many Blink Stalkers getting up underneath here, but there's a lot of Zealots here, a lot of charge lots, and the charge lot's going to be able to push the Stalkers away. And there are Archons, though. The Archons are able to do so much damage to Zealots because they do increased damage to biological, but Todd is able to make a hold. Great composition here from Todd. It's starting to finally make sense now with the ground Zealots backing up the carriers and Tempest overhead, and plus his own Archons in the mix as well. Those Blink Stalkers literally have no chance of being able to get underneath and take out the capital airships. So this is starting to make a lot more sense now for Todd, and I definitely commend his creativity here, trying to make a new build work. He's also got another expansion up here, down here in the bottom. I'm gonna try to protect it now with some photon cannons. Meanwhile, Todd trying to make another pylon over here, but Zeth is already hot on that pylon, and it will go down. So both players here are looking to claim the 6 o'clock and the 12 o'clock expansion, but one thing I am a little bit concerned about is Todd doesn't have the location 22 centered right now. He doesn't have this expansion in the top left-hand corner. So he's actually down a base right now to Zeth, and obviously you never really want to be down a base in StarCraft 2, so I'm not too sure why there's so much of a delay there. But no, it looks like Zeth is not going to claim this base. In fact, he's just going to go ahead and let it go. And so the base count is going to stay identical for now. There is a Colossus being brought in for Zeth, and finally an Observer able to take out that DT as well. But interesting that Zeth decided to go for a Colossus here. I think he's realized, hey, there's a lot of charge lots there, and Colossus are really good against charge lots. So now you're really seeing the full mix of Protoss units here. It's almost like every unit has its designed you know, kill, the designed way for it to kill another unit, and it's almost like this kind of very balanced game of rock paper scissors. You need this certain unit to kill this certain unit. For example, Blink Stalkers against carriers, and then Tempest against carriers, and then you know, Zealots against the Stalkers that can kill the carriers. So this is kind of crazy. And now we have this attack coming in from Zeth. He's gonna be able to take out the Nexus, it looks like, but no. Now Todd brings in his main army, and this is just an epic Protoss versus Protoss battle. The mothership has also overcharged the Nexus, and it looks like Zeth has to get out of there. Not a good position for him at all, and the power of the carriers proving to be too strong, along with the Tempest in the back as well. And Zeth is in full retreat. That last attack did not go so well for him. The supply is now very close, 155 to 152, and no doubt the Mothership Core helping to overcharge this Nexus came in handy as well. And I don't know where, there it is. The Mothership Core is always kind of, you know, hanging around. It always seems to be in the right spot at the right time. Probably helps a lot due to the fact that it's a very speedy unit. Now, I would love to see Todd make this Mothership Core into a real full-on mothership. I would love to see Zeth do the same thing as well. It's actually surprising me that Zeth hasn't decided to take the initiative to do that first, because he's dealing with a massive Sky Toss army, and very similarly, when you deal with a mass air army, you'll want to vortex it all in and then send your Archons in to finish it off. So he hasn't decided to do that yet. He's just adding on more Colossus, hoping here that Colossus are going to be the way for him to win this game, but I don't think Colossus are going to be the answer here. I feel like Colossus are actually not the right unit, because Tempest can take them down so quickly. Look at the damage that Tempest does, 75 versus massive, and yes, a Colossus is massive, so it only takes a few shots for a Tempest to kill off a Colossus, and it's really quite unfair. So I feel like maybe Zeth not really choosing the right unit here, but we'll see. I'm not entirely sure. Both players now claiming the final expansions on the map. It looks like Zeth here has good positioning. He will be able to take out a Nexus. That Nexus goes down oh so quickly, and now Zeth can pull out of the way, but he's deciding to stay. Epic Protoss battle here. This is a Protoss on Protoss civil war, and who is going to come out ahead? I think Todd is. He's got too many carriers here. He's got about 6 or 7, not to mention the Tempest firing in the back as well, and Zeth has to pull out of the way. So Zeth loses the battle in a terrible way, but he does get the Nexus on the way out, or on the way in, I should say. But now with his army being so heavily diminished, I feel like he's definitely going to lose this base for sure. Although Todd actually gonna pull away. I'm not too sure why. I think he should have went in there and finished off that Nexus. Absolutely, he's got the way superior air army right now. There's no way that Zeth could have held this off. But I see Todd is gonna send one DT to finish the job. Why send your whole army when you can send the messenger? And so this Nexus now is going to be taking some damage, but I feel like there should be an observer over this army. And yeah, there we go. Zeth is going to be able to hold on to this Nexus. So I feel like a military decision mistake right there. You know, a real-time mistake from Todd. He should have stayed around, taken out that Nexus, and then pulled away. Then he could have definitely solidified his advantage. As it stands, though, it almost seems like Zeth came out of that the victor, because he was able to kill off a base and his opponent wasn't, even though he lost more of his army overall. But we'll have to see. So far in the last couple of battles, it definitely seems like Todd has been coming out ahead. He's definitely been losing a lot less. And, you know, most of his army has stayed intact, but we'll see here. Looks like Todd might be a little bit thin on the ground fodder units underneath, and if he doesn't have enough ground units, just look at the number of Blinkstalkers Zeth has got on the field. So this could turn out pretty badly here for Todd. If he engages without enough ground support, it looks like now he's going to take out one of the Nexi. Meanwhile, Zeth finding himself in between his base and the top left base, gonna try to get his stalkers in position here, but I don't think he's got the best concave, and this is looking pretty good for Todd. He should be able to take out this army. The Zealots just running their way up forward, and now he pulls out of the way when all of his Zealots were about to die. That was so smart, because while it was looking good for a second there, as soon as his Zealots started to go down, that's when you gotta recall your whole army out. And interestingly enough, he barely really moved the position of the units. He just moved them over here to the left, and that was really smart, because if he lost all of his Zealots there, then all of his Tempests and Carriers are absolutely screwed. Now he's gonna wait here at this position. He should overcharge the Nexus, which he has done. He's worked in some Templar in the back as well. Will he be able to make a hold here at this base? The Nexus no doubt providing quite a bit of firepower, and it looks like Zeth overextending here. I don't see him winning this battle at all. He is going to have to pull out, even though he's got a lot of Stalkers alive, because he lost the rest of his backup forces, and you know, trying to attack into a Nexus that's overcharged. Yeah, right. Come on, get out of here. That thing is OP, and Zeth right now has to pull away. This game is unbelievably close right now. I have no idea who's going to win this. You look at the units lost tab, 32,000 to 36,000 upgrades right now. 233. I can't believe I'm saying this. 233 for Sky Toss and 333 for Ground Toss. So their upgrades across the board are very, very good. It looks like Todd has taken out a base here with his major army. It looks like Zeth is going to move down south. He says, screw it, I'm not even going to try to fight the Sky Toss anymore. Clearly superior. I'm just going to go try to base race you, I suppose. And no, now he's going to make a decision to pull back and try to defend this base at the same time. It looks like Todd says, all right, I'm just going to take that base and be happy with it. I'm not going to overextend, and he is going to pull back here. And I just love this map. Daybreak always has the ability to take games all the way into the land of epicness, and that's what we're definitely seeing right now. Probes now distance mining into the middle of the map. This expansion has definitely been taken down. Workers killed still favoring Todd, who's killed off 53 this game, but if you look at the total workers right now, it's about even, so it's kind of a wash, because the game is starting to dwindle down, with the resources definitely becoming a limiting factor here. I think overall there's probably only 1 or 2, maybe 3 total mineable bases on the map right now. And one thing to definitely note is Zeth doesn't actually have a base where he's fully mining out of right now. This is the last one pretty much, so he's got to resecure this position right here, whereas, you know, Todd has a couple of options. He's got this base still mining, he's got this base kind of still mining, and he can still reclaim this base as well. So right now Zeth definitely the one who's going to be running out of money. In fact, if you look at the top right hand corner, both players right now are kind of running out of money. 300 about here for their minerals and their gas bank, and that does not bode well for them if they want to keep this game going all the way. It looks like what you see here is what you're going to get for both armies, and now it becomes a race to survive almost. You've got to be very cost efficient with your units, and to be quite honest with you guys, none of their units are very cost efficient. Neither players here have the typical spellcasters you'd see, like the infestors, or even the units that create more units, like the swarm host or the widow mines. You're not seeing too much of that right now, which basically means we're going to probably have one epic clash. And it's going to come down a lot to the micro here. We'll have to see what happens. Neither side adding on a mothership at all. We do have Todd continuing to make Tempest. He does have Templar as well. I don't think he's got researched the Storm, though. He is going to be able to take out some distance mining probes, but I don't believe he's got Storm researched. I'm trying to click around and look for his Templar Archives, but it's completely avoiding me right now, so I'm not too sure where it is. There it is. And no, he has not researched Storm, so he has no ability to really rely on the energy-based units, which make them so good in the late game. But screw it, man. Both armies are maxed out right now. It is 200 supply. I never thought I'd be seeing an epic Protoss game like this. You'll note as well, Todd has got 40 interceptors in the bank. He's got 5 carriers, 8 Tempests, 5 Archons, 32 Zealots, and now players are starting to throw away probes. That's when you know this game is going to be absolutely insane. Look at the Stalker count though for Zeth. He's got 50 Stalkers on the field. That is unbelievably large. That is incredible. 50 Stalkers, 3 Archons, 21 Zealots, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like Zeth has a better concave this time around. Will he finally be able to win a battle? The carrier's trying to pull out of the way here, but they gotta get in and fight. I definitely feel like Zeth has a better concave here, and he's got so much Stalker firepower. Todd's gotta pull back now. He's cycled in a bunch of Zealots to try to hold off the Stalkers. There are just lasers pew-pewing everywhere. I can't tell what is going on. Now, a lot of this game is gonna come down to how many interceptors are still alive. There's only 24 interceptors remaining, but no, now it looks like Zeth is going to go ahead and go for the carriers. He says screw it. He's got a lot of Blink Stalkers. Will he be able to take out the Skytoss army? More Zealots being sent into the grinder, and Todd is just trying to buy time right now, but he's running out of Warp Gate cycles. He's running out of carriers, and now he's only got Tempest remaining. It looks like the German Protoss is going to take this battle handily with all the Stalkers he's got remaining, and there you have it. Conventional toss looks like it is going to beat out Skytoss. The Mothership Core trying to overcharge the Nexus. You saw it laser one time, and Zeth gotta be pretty happy with that. Is now looking to claim this expansion. A very nice job by Zeth, who is now taking the supply lead at 105 to 66. Will Todd be able to make a hold defensively? He's got to bring his Mothership Core over here to the top to try to overcharge this Nexus. He's done just that. He's got a couple of Zealots and Photon Cannons as well. So I don't think Zeth is actually going to attack this location, simply because it doesn't make a lot of sense to send all of his units in there. Sure, he might get the Nexus, but overall, he might actually end up throwing the game. He's got to keep this army alive right now, and he makes the wiser decision to go ahead and pull away and maybe take out this Nexus over here, which is far less heavily defended. A lot of DTs being sent out across the map right now, always a sign of a desperate Protoss player trying to get back in the game. Now, it looks like Todd getting a pretty good engage here. Gonna push this army away, but no. That, you know, there's just so many Stalkers and Zealots there. If Zeth wants to, he can turn around and he can start firing and attacking right away. And now Todd definitely realizing that he cannot win this game, and he says, I don't have the patience to camp like you, and he is out of here. So I guess Todd there saying, all right, you got my number, and I'm not gonna wait around all game long. I'm out of here. I'm gonna queue up for another ladder game. So there you have it, the German Protoss Zeth winning in an epic Protoss versus Protoss mirror matchup, and that was one of the best ones I've seen in Heart of the Swarm. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. If you did, check me out. I'm at YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you guys know any good Heart of the Swarm replays, go ahead and have them sent over to me at HDreplays@gmail.com. For now, this is HD, and I am signing out.